But here was Ryan Day yesterday talking about how Ohio State is approaching the first of their 2 bye weeks.
Today we'll practice today, tomorrow, and Thursday. Take Friday and Saturday off, and then come back in Sunday, have our practice, and do a normal game week. That's something that I think is important to make sure we still continually stay on that schedule. We're going to work hard on fundamentals, on the areas that we need to get better at. We know the next 4 games are going to be a challenge. This will be our first conference game here. This will be our first road game, and 3 of the next 4 will be conference road games. So, we have to prepare, to go on the road and play really, really good football.
Bob, is there such thing as a bad time or a better time to have a bye week?
A bye week is when the bye week is. If you were healthy, it's like whatever. If you're hurt, like, we'd love to have the bye week
Sure.
now. Having 2 is a little bit unique. I don't think a lot of coaches love it. If you're Ryan Day, this kind of delineates the non-conference from the conference. Mm-hmm. And so you had 1 big game. And so I guess this year there is some benefit to it because you had 1 really big game. So you kind of probably taper down at the end of camp. Then you can kind of ratchet up a little bit. You can have a pretty good bye week, couple days of good intensity, and then you give them the weekend. Come in Sunday, Monday off, get back into your normal week, and you can get ahead for Washington. And then having the one before Penn State probably helps.
Yeah.
As well, because Penn State usually gets one the week off before they play Ohio State, or they had in the past.
I always wonder about the fact that you're on a roll and looking as good as
it comes when it comes. Sometimes you're like, hey, I'd be excited if it was here, but if you're injured, you want it. If you're playing well, maybe you don't, but it's just part of the schedule.
And I think it helps. I like the fact it's right before the Washington game, the first big road test. Washington. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting to pronounce the R in that, but I think, Bob, that it's beneficial. I hope it is to have the extra week before going on the road for Julian Sand's first big road test in a hostile environment.
Yeah, it'll be hostile for sure, and it'll be a big challenge. Listen, Washington's got some dudes. Man. They got a good quarterback. They've got some good receivers, skill guys. This will be a good challenge out there in Seattle.
How much does Ohio State have a say? And I know in the non-conference, great. If they want to take a week off on a bye type thing, I know they have a say in that.
I don't think they have a say. Really.
They don't say. It's just that this is what they're being commanded on when your bye weeks are. I can't believe the Big Ten is that way, like in the non-conference.
Still responded to me with Ross stuff on it. Tell him we don't want to play any more noon games. Okay, my bad. Have you heard him say I don't want to play? We fought to not play noon games, more or less. Not all, but less noon games.
This is good to know, Bob, that you're like the suggestion box, that we can just send stuff to you and you'll pass it on next time you see Ross?
I'm not passing that on. I already have talked to Ross about that. He knows. And by the way, I didn't really talk to him. I just listened to him talk about it. I was like, oh, I don't need to give him my opinions because his opinions are very closely aligned with mine. And a lot of people's in general on that.
I've got some advice I need to pass on to Ryan Day. I got a couple plays I've worked up at home. We'll talk about that off the air. But here's Ryan Day addressing the red zone offense and the challenges, I guess I should say, against Ohio University.
The first time we went down there, we had a power play that I feel like we got the right look that we were looking for. We didn't execute that very well, and quite honestly on the second one, on the third. Pass there, it was a kind of a 50-50 ball and man-to-man. I thought the protection was good, but that's playing in the red zone. And then on the last one, they did a good job sort of matching it. If you watch the play, you'll see CJ kind of league free in the flat, and if we can just keep our feet and keep our eyes up, maybe we see him there. And then as we got into the red zone a couple other times, we had a penalty, but. Quite honestly, there was one where we didn't motion the guy over. So to me, I thought schematically we were in decent shape. I'm critical of that.
I love that. That's the thing that we are talking about as far as something Ohio State in a 37-9 win. This is what we're gonna nitpick. Yeah. Look, it needs to get better. I get that, but still, if you win 37-9 and that's like the stuff you're complaining about and talking about, that's your team's in a pretty good spot.
They are, but that's what Ryan talks about. We're not in a race to win. We're in a race to improve. And so that's the big piece of that. He's like, I don't care what the results are. The results are the results. It's how good are we getting relative to where we were the day before. The only true improvement that off is to improve upon your former self. Seneca.
I would love for him to say, 37-9. That's pretty good, right? 37. I don't know. You tell me. I don't know if 37-9 is a good win. You tell me if 37-9 is a good win. I don't know. I'm not sure. Somebody tell me. I might be wrong. Anyway, Matt Patricia was talking about, and it just seems to me that he really, I think, is enjoying himself here, just from what I see from his facial expressions, body language, and all of that. And our time we spent with him at practice, seems like he's really enjoying his time here. Here is Matt Patricia talking about being around this team.
I think I've said this before, but it's such a joy to kind of be around these guys. There is that professionalism that you walk into the meeting room, they're very serious. They take notes. They want to learn what the game plan is. They really want to learn about the opponent. But then there's just that also joy of they are young kids. They have that youthful energy about them. They love the game for the game. It's just all of that stuff being around younger players that just, come out of them. They have fun. They're out there celebrating the 6-7. I don't even know what that is, but my kids know what it is and they get excited about it. So I love to see that energy and that excitement that they have around each other, and they're young, they're great young men, but in that meeting room and on that practice field, they're as serious as they can be, trying to just be the best players they can be. So it's a great combination, honestly, to be around. It's a lot of fun.
Has anything surprised you about the Ohio State defense to this point? A certain player, a certain scheme, a certain strategic element? Has anything surprised you all? Is this pretty much what you thought would happen if you scripted it out back in August?
Yeah, I felt like this is what they would look like. I mean, knowing what Matty P would do, watching what they've done, knowing the faith that I had in Arvell Reese to step up and some of the other young guys to step up. Jalen McClain, when Malik Hartford's got in there, he's played well. Defensive lines looked pretty good. Still need to work on the interior of that and solve some questions. And Matt Patricia can scheme around their strengths and figure out what to lean into. Though I think the one big question mark was going to be Lorenzo Styles at nickel. Mm-hmm. That's a very difficult position. There's a lot that's asked of him. And everybody last year was like, well, whenever he was on the field, they targeted him. I'm like, well, there are other really good players as well. But I think he's done a really good job. I think Lorenzo's played really well in the slot, and that's why you've seen him in there. And that's why this defense has really been humming the way that it has.
As I'm watching this team play, and I've breaking news, a different set of eyes than you do, but I always wonder if they're.
Do you have hungry eyes?
That's Eric Carmen, R.I.P. with the
Queen
also.
One look at you and I can't describe. I've got.
Is the defense more reactionary or more, this is what we're going to do regardless of what you do, you have to deal with it?
No, it's not we're going to well, here's what they do. We're going to come out here, we're going to do these specific things. And in doing that, when you come out to stuff we don't feel comfortable with or we can tweak to get in a better call, there's all these little peripheral tweaks around the edges about how to play the coverage behind it, how to get the rush going, how to fit the gaps in the run scheme, how to get blitz stuff going if you need to. All of those things are all answers there that a lot of them can be dictated by the players based upon their film study and their comfort of what they feel good about on the field.
Is it, as far as strategically, and when you talk about doing that strategically, how is it different than what Jim Knowles did?
How they call it is like night and day. It would be like learning Mandarin versus learning Spanish. I mean, it's not even close to how you call the defense verbiage-wise. You always look, number one, they always had the fixed four-man front. That is something that they haven't really done nearly as much. They do it, but they'll line up in different things, but they'll move guys around. They've done some 5-down stuff. They've done some 3-down stuff. There's a lot of different personnel packages. If you watch guys run on the field,
right, 3
linemen, 3 linebackers, 3 linemen, 2 linebackers, 6 DBs, 5 DBs, 3 defensive tackles, 4 DNs. It's just they change up so much stuff so they can get more guys, get them roles. Their big nickel package. They have little nickel. They're all these different personnel groups that give them flexibility. And some of the calls might be the same across the packages. So it's just 1 or 2 guys that have to learn different positions.
That's what and with my, I would say naked eye, but then you'd make a comment. My naked eye, when I see it, untrained eye. There, it's better. I know, like
virgin eye.
Well, not virgin eye. This eye sees some stuff. But Bob, the way the NBA has gone almost positionless. I feel a lot of the same way about Ohio State's defense.
Yeah, you'd like to do that if you have the physical ability to with your players.
But you look at it, though, and the way that they changed the look up like pre-snap. You'll see the guys out there. It'll be like, you might see the 4, and you'll see a guy drop back. Or you'll see somebody else sneak up.
They walk up to the line of scrimmage. They simulate a lot of pressure. There's times where that's what I'm saying, the coverages they show behind it. And they're all on a string. Everybody does it together.
You mentioned the difference between learning Mandarin and learning Spanish. I assume the Mandarin would be what we have here with Patricia versus maybe Spanish last year.
Yeah, I would say that's probably accurate.
It just, it seems like there's so much more.
Jim Knowles' defense is really good. Believe it, the numbers would bear that out. But that doesn't mean that like things can't get better. And I think, number one, I think this defense is more talented. And I think Matt Patricia being here allows them to lean into that type of talent of what they have and utilize it in maybe a better way than they would have last year.
So it's been fun to watch. And then here is also, we'll play one more here from Matt Patricia on how the defense is doing so far.
We got some stuff in last week. I would say that I was glad to be able to get in and kind of get out there and practice. But our guys are doing an unbelievable job, I think, with the installations and the learning and the different pieces and putting that all together. I just can't give enough credit to the way that they've gone after this and studied and learned and practiced and improved. What's really been great is, we'll put things in, and sometimes you put things in and you're taking a look at it and you're like, man, I'm not really sure if I like that or not. And then they're kind of like, hey, let's give it one more look. And they've fixed it, or they've made you feel more comfortable about those calls, which I love, like that ownership that they've been able to do with some of the stuff that we've done. So it's been pretty good.
Jim Knowles' defense, when he came out and first said that, the problem is we're going to give it big plays. We can bend but not break. One of the things he said when he first got his defense.
Knowles was like, we're going to give up the big play.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to be ultra aggressive. Like, that was just part of how they operated.
The Death Star, obviously, there was a way to defeat that, as Luke showed us in the Star Wars A New Hope. There was a flaw in the Death Star's plans. If you were scheming against this Ohio State defense, what would you try to expose? How would you try to expose them? Or what could you do to potentially expose them? I'm not trying to give tips out to Washington.
Yeah, I was like, what are we doing here, Phil? You want me to do the gameplay and the scouting report? Like,
I just want you to, like, is there the defense he's been running? Because I don't see a weakness in it, Bob. That's why I'm asking you, my naked eye. That,
you have to get 6 inches from the screen to be able to read the text.
That's also fair. But nonetheless, though, I'm asking, though, do you is there a flaw somewhere that someone could expose? Is it just like if Ohio State's defense executes? Okay, let's say they execute at 90%. They're going to dominate the game, right?
Yeah, I would say so. Like against most teams, because they have more talent than them in most teams. Now, there are room to make mistakes, and that stuff does happen. That stuff does happen from time to time. But like attacking this defense, they're really good in the back end. Mm-hmm. They're very versatile up front. The problem is, anytime you attack, you have to have an idea of what they're going to be in. And Matt does such a good job of changing that up, showing one thing, playing another, and changing up what their lead calls are, that it's really difficult to get that. And he changes so much of it from game to game, so you don't really get a bead on it.
Yeah, I wondered, because when I see it, I just feel like it's at a point where Ohio State, if no one slips on the field kind of thing, if that doesn't happen, that they're going to be successful against. I really wish Oregon was on the schedule this year. I'd love to see them do it against Oregon. And they might get a chance to play in the Big Ten championship or the playoff, but I would love to see an offense like that, because I don't see an offense say what you want, Penn State. They're not.
We'll see. Oregon scored a lot, but who have they really played?
They haven't really played anybody. That's true. They haven't really played anybody, but Oregon's got a better. Oregon's staff has a better track record of producing elite offensive players, I should say, than Penn State does.
Yeah.
And so that's why I wish Oregon was coming here this year. Now, next year, granted, it'll still be fun, because when they come here next year, and we get to see how they do against Matt Patricia's defense, hopefully at that case. But I look at this defense. So I wish there was another bigger challenge. I don't know if Washington's gonna be that big of a challenge. The biggest challenge for Washington, as far as I'm concerned, and we'll talk more about this obviously next week, though, is going to be the road environment for some of these kids going out there.
It'll be loud. Their stadium's sweet. If anybody hasn't seen it, I would just a little Google search of Husky Stadium, I think it is, or whatever.
I think
it
it's
is
called Husky Stadium. I think you're right. Yeah,
it's like on the lake. The sound in the back. They've got these big awnings that come over top of most of the stadium to help lock the sound in. It's loud. Like it's a pretty cool spot.
You know who the voice of the Huskies is?
I don't know.
Tony Castricone. Remember?
Oh,
You're
yeah.
the fan?
I know
Yeah.
Tony, yeah.
Tony C's out there. He does. I think he does basketball too. I think he's like their Paul Keels.
Good for him.
Yeah. So Castricone. God, if it wasn't so early, I'd get him out on our show. I don't think we want. He's not like Your Highness. I don't think he gets up at
I don't
4
think
in the
so.
morning.
Your Highness, he's an interesting bird. He's
Does he
up at
sleep?
all times. I don't know.
I don't think.
I think he just waits.
I think he just rests. I think he rests or maybe passes out at some point for a little while. What we decide about him tomorrow? We're gonna have him on tomorrow. Now we're gonna do our picks. Is it too much to have him on again tomorrow?
Well, if we can get through the picks and you sit there and obliviate and want to give all your details as to why everything's going on, people really don't care as to why.
They just so you're telling me we just do our straight picks and don't say why we
You
think.
want to throw like a couple words of color around it, but nobody needs a minute breakdown as to why you picked such and such over whoever.
We probably do need Your Highness to pick up the pace a little bit, too.
Okay, this
Yeah.
will
Maybe give us his
this will be our mega tease. then.
top 3 picks.
We'll get him in here tomorrow and we'll let him.
Jump on the right foot and do the wrong thing.
I don't know what his record was, Bodie, but he also got one more wrong at the end because he said Bobby do better than me in the picks. So
You know what they say, Bob? Birds that fly together.
let's not do that.
They win together.
That's an off-the-air comment. We'll talk about that coming up next.